On Answers for Living, we're looking at what we need to know if we do the right thing and we get the wrong result. Here's the third thing we need to remember. When everything goes wrong, don't blame God. Job was one of the most righteous people on the earth. God allowed Satan to take everything from Job, except he wasn't allowed to touch Job's body. So Satan came and took his cattle, his servants, killed his 10 children, destroyed their homes, and left Job and his wife, with nothing. Later on, the devil is allowed to touch Job's body, and he covers him with boils from the top of his head to the sole of his feet. Now, I want you to listen to how Job responded to this trial. At this, Job got up, tore his clothes, shaved his head. Then he fell to the ground and worshipped and said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." In all of this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. He knew who was in charge, and he praised God anyway. In Acts chapter 21, what happened to Paul was not by the hand of God. It was done to him by the hand of the crowd. But Paul knew who was in charge, and he didn't blame God. Now, here's another thing you need to do. When doing the right thing leads to a wrong situation, don't ask why. Ask what. God, what do you want me to do in this situation? Paul doesn't ask for the people to be arrested who were beating him to death. He says, can I get permission to talk to them? He wants to share Christ with them. See, there is always a path of obedience. Always. Even if the pain is self-inflicted because of our own sin, there's still a path of obedience out of that sin. Even if you're caught in the backwash of someone else's sin, there's always a path of obedience. When Daniel lived in Israel, he was a godly young man. When God judged Israel for its idolatry, Daniel was hauled away into captivity along with many of the people from Israel. Daniel and his 3 friends were caught up in the backwash of the punishment of his nation. But while in captivity, there was a path of obedience and honoring of God. For instance, they refused to defile themselves with eating the king's food. But they did it respectfully, and God honored this. They refused to bow down before a statue of the king and worship the king and worship the statue. God delivered Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego from that fiery furnace. Daniel refused to stop praying. When he was told he had to pray to the king and he couldn't pray any other time, he prayed anyhow. And he survived the night alone with the lions. All 4 men were elevated by the king of Babylon and ruled with him. Why did God honor them? Because they chose obedience no matter what the cost. Now listen to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. And the word temptation means trial here. No temptation or trial has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not allow you to be tempted or tried beyond what you can bear. And when you are tempted or tried, He will provide a way out so that you can endure it. What is the way out? The way out simply is obedience.